Perfect. So good day, Chair, Board, and Chief Stubbs. Thank you again for the opportunity to delegate on behalf of Barrhaven West residents. Today I'll be speaking to you about an issue that's becoming far too prevalent in my community, and that's vehicle thefts. From January to November of last year, 262 vehicles were stolen in Barrhaven. Over that same period of time, more than 1,200 cars were stolen from across the city. That's 3 cars a day, and it's an exponential increase. I understand that there are numerous complicating factors impacting this problem, from policing to border services to port operations to industry modifications to criminal exploitation of the gaps in between. This is exacerbated by the jurisdictional challenges between the federal government, Ontario, Ottawa, and Quebec, especially when looking at the major offshore port of Montreal. We will also need to ensure that we have the support of our automotive industry and insurance sector for a lasting solution to this problem. If Ottawa's voice is going to be heard by either the auto industry or upper levels of government, we will need to be ambitious in building an aligned coalition. Ensuring our inclusion in the Preventing Auto Thefts grant is an important first step that I know the Chief is working on with our provincial counterparts. Also, advocating that the province adopts a vehicle identification number assignment program similar to Alberta and Saskatchewan could be another worthy effort. As much as this issue requires the City of Ottawa to grapple with bigger forces and outside trends, I believe there is more that we can be doing as a municipality to meet this challenge. To that end, I have several questions that I hope can either be addressed at this meeting or in future collaborations. 1. Does the OPS currently have a dedicated vehicle theft unit? 2. If not, have they had one in the past and could it be resurrected? 3. Has the province addressed resource requirements for Ottawa to address anti-vehicle theft actions? And 4, how has OPS engaged with public safety to ensure that we're seeing the required federal support from the RCMP, Provincial International Partner Liaison, CBSA, and especially at the prominent offshoring sites such as the Montreal port? The impact of rising crime is not restricted to the immediate victims. We're already seeing insurance rates increase across Canada as a result of the billion-dollar vehicle theft criminal industry. It is unacceptable. Continued theft will simply compound the cost of living crisis as insurance soars. We all need to row stronger together on this issue. So what can we do as a city right now? Well, you won't be surprised to hear me say this, but one important step is to reverse the draining of police resources from our suburbs to respond to federal issues. Ottawa is a unique city given that we host the federal government. We need a special relationship regarding security operations. Simply put, federal issues need to be managed by federal resources, and the impact of OPS stepping up consistently to provide security support, that is, suburban traffic and beat cops getting retasked away from us. Barrhaven, Canada, and Orleans were the ones that are being left behind because of this jurisdictional gap, and the federal government need to take ownership of this issue. This isn't limited to just car thefts. Speeding and stunt racing remain both a nightly nuisance and a risk to local safety. I've met now with several families who've had loved ones, in most cases children, hit by cars. This trend needs to change, and a component of this change requires additional police presence. I will continue to advocate to this committee, to the province, to our local parliamentarians, as well as the auto insurance industries in order to get this sorted out. I fully realize the pressures on Ottawa's police force, and I'm very appreciative of the challenging work that they undertake day in, day out. I'd also like to take a moment to voice my support for the Special Constable Pilot program that's in front of you today. At first blush, this is exactly the kind of outside-the-box proposals that I think we need to get results for our residents. I look forward to seeing how this pilot unfolds. Thank you very much for taking the time to hear my delegation today, and I look forward to working with you in order to improve the situation with both vehicle thefts in Barrhaven and the lack of police presence in the suburbs. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Councillor Hill. Board members, any questions or comments for the delegate? I see the chief has his hand up, but before we go to the chief, any board members? Okay, we'll go to the chief, and then if board members have questions, we'll come back to them.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councillor Hill, for your delegation. And I know a couple of weeks ago, you and I were supposed to meet to discuss this issue, and unfortunately, it had to get canceled. I do see it rescheduled this week for discussion on this issue, and I'm sure a few other topics. I know you had some questions in your in your delegation, and certainly we can attempt to answer them today, or we can answer them during our meeting. Um, but I know Deputy Ferguson, her team is dealing with the auto theft and the investigation of it. Deputy Burnett's team certainly deals with the proactive patrols that have been done by the front line and have successfully recovered a number of vehicles. But I might just go to Deputy Ferguson to talk briefly on a few of the topics that you rose.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you, Councillor Hill, for the delegation. I put together a few answers just in response to the questions that you've asked, and hopefully we'll be able to shed some light. The first question about whether we have a dedicated vehicle theft unit. At this point in time, we do not have a vehicle theft unit or members who are specifically dedicated to that. Our unit was disbanded in 2017, and that was as a response of the high number of shootings, and we needed to reallocate officers. Around that time, the provincial task forces and things had also disbanded due to a decrease in organized auto thefts. At that time and now, auto thefts are actually investigated by our general assignment officers. But in response to the growing trend that we've seen this year, Ottawa Police put together a task force at the beginning of this year for the first 6 months, and a project called Project Phoenix, which we put out the results of, and you can find those on our website. But 68 vehicles were recovered, and it just highlighted for us just how big this issue is, which we were already aware of. And however, we continue to access right now and promote training for our frontline officers so that that information is out there on the roads in terms of what to look for and some of the points of interest that they need to be aware of. And I would say probably several times a week, our frontline officers are intercepting cars that are in the process of being stolen or preventing them from being taken from people's driveways. We haven't continued to proactively provide prevention training to the Ottawa New Car Dealers Association as well. That's in conjunction with some of the subject matter experts that we have here at the Ottawa Police. We're blessed with a number of members who are very well versed in this, and I know that Councillor Hill, you met 2 such members several weeks ago. And while we don't have a unit per se, we happen to have 5 members who have superior skills and knowledge and who have been subject matter experts, in fact, across the country on this. With regards to your second question about have we resurrected one, every year since the disbandment in 2017, we've done smaller 3-month projects, to try and disrupt the criminal organizations. Obviously, it has expanded in its complexity now. And so these projects are somewhat effective, but clearly not in dismantling the organization. We also continue to update the public with education campaigns and media releases on how to prevent car theft themselves and some of the new trends that are emerging. With the increase in profitability and organized auto theft, the province is reforming the provincial auto theft units, and OPS will contribute 2 officers to the Eastern Hub. So that should be coming in the next couple of weeks. This will be helpful in tackling the organized crime groups traveling along the province stealing vehicles. And a local team would be the best option that focuses on auto theft only, but with the current staffing levels and forming that team will mean that we are pulling resources from somewhere else, and that's something we struggle with. Your third question about the province addressing resources requirements for Ottawa to address any anti-theft vehicle actions. The Solicitor General made a call for grant applications at the end of 2023, and though we were not successful in the auto theft grant, we do get provincial money from other projects, and we will be diverting some of the Safe Roads grants to offset the cost for an intelligence constable, and that person will be coordinating with the provincial team and feed information to the frontline officers as well as education for the public. And we anticipate this is a key strategic position that will not only improve our ability to identify and go after some of the bigger players, we also believe that this position will be a point of contact for other agencies, industry partners, and will be the subject matter expert for the Ottawa Police Service. And finally, for your 4th question, how is OPS engaged with public safety to ensure that we are seeing the required federal support from the RCMP, Provincial International Partner Liaison, CBSA, and especially the prominent offshore sites, this is Port of Montreal. We work very closely with our Quebec partners as well. OPS has had a seconded officer from the Canada Border Services Agency for a number of years, and that has proved to be key position for streamlining information between our agencies. We also sit at many tables with provincial partners to encourage investment in technology and at the ports that would assist in the search of containers without slowing down the trade. And finally, of note, we have 2 regional directors in the Northeast chapter of the International Association of Auto Theft Investigators, or an organization called IATI. You may have seen over the weekend that the federal government has launched a summit that should be coming February 8th. I believe it's occurring, and we have indicated our interest absolutely to attend and to work with our federal partners in that regard. I hope I've answered your question, sir.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Ferguson. Any board members have any comments or concerns to? If not, I would like to thank Councillor Hill for his delegation. It's always important for us as a board to hear from the various councillors and bring the issues that are in your area. So thank you again, Councillor Hill, for your delegation today.